Villa Serenitas in Bali, $15,000 a night, infinity pools overlooking emerald rice terraces, and absolute privacy. The perfect setting for a Dubai power couple celebrating their 6th wedding anniversary. He was a commercial pilot, commanding Boeing 777s across continents. She was a former model living the Emirates' dream. Their Instagram showed paradise, champagne sunsets, designer everything, and smiles that made thousands jealous. But on the 3rd night, while she enjoyed the spa, he discovered something hidden in her luggage that shattered everything he believed about their marriage. What he found would transform their luxury retreat into a crime scene that shocked the international community. But what dark secret was she hiding that would turn their dream anniversary into a deadly nightmare? Welcome to True Crime Journal HQ. Thanks to all our viewers and subscribers for your support. Stay with us for daily update on the most shocking true crime stories. Don't forget to subscribe. Darius Al-Hakim was born in 1985 in Karama, Dubai, to a middle-class Emirates family. His father worked as a mechanic at Dubai International Airport, while his mother taught Arabic at a local school. Growing up in the shadow of Dubai's incredible aviation boom, young Darius would spend hours watching planes take off and land, dreaming of one day commanding those massive aircraft himself. The 1990s and early 2000s were transformative years for Dubai. As Emirates Airlines expanded globally, Darius witnessed his city transform from a trading port into an international aviation hub. Every day, he saw his father return from work with stories about the latest Boeing deliveries and Airbus arrivals. This wasn't just inspiration, it was destiny calling. But dreams don't pay bills. After finishing secondary school, Darius faced harsh reality. Flight training cost more than his family's entire yearly income. While his classmates headed to university on their parents' dirhams, Darius took multiple jobs. He worked nights at Dubai Creek loading cargo ships, weekends at Dira Gold Souk helping tourists, and early mornings cleaning offices in Business Bay. For 3 years, he saved every fils possible. His social life disappeared. While friends partied at JBR beaches and Dubai marina clubs, Darius studied aviation manuals and saved money. His dedication bordered on obsession, but his family supported his dreams unconditionally. Finally, in 2006, Darius enrolled in flight school. The training was brutal, both financially and physically. Many classmates dropped out, unable to handle the pressure, but Darius remembered those childhood afternoons watching planes soar above Dubai's skyline. He pushed through sleepless nights, failed attempts, and moments when quitting seemed easier. By 2009, Captain Darius Al-Hakim earned his commercial pilot license. He started with smaller regional airlines, flying routes to Muscat, Doha, and Kuwait City. The pay was modest, but he was finally living his childhood dream. His parents cried with pride the first time they watched him taxi a plane at Dubai International. Emirates Airlines hired him in 2015. This was the moment everything changed. Suddenly, Darius commanded Boeing 777s to London, New York, and Sydney. His salary jumped to 7 figures annually. He moved from his family's modest apartment in Karama to a luxury penthouse overlooking the Burj Khalifa. The kid from the airport mechanics family had made it, truly living the Dubai dream. 4 years younger than Darius, Valentina Petrova entered the world in 1989 in Podgorica, Montenegro's capital. Her childhood couldn't have been more different from Darius's aviation-inspired dreams. Montenegro in the 1990s faced economic instability and political turmoil. Her family struggled to afford basic necessities while the country navigated its complex relationship with Yugoslavia's collapse. Valentina's mother cleaned hotels, working double shifts to support the family. Her father drove trucks across Balkan borders, often absent for weeks. At 18, Valentina made a decision that would define her future. She moved to Milan to pursue modeling. Milan's fashion industry welcomed young Eastern European women, but not always with pure intentions. Valentina quickly learned that beauty alone wasn't enough. Success required connections, compromise, and sometimes uncomfortable choices. She witnessed models being exploited, careers destroyed overnight, and promises broken by powerful men who controlled the industry. These experiences shaped Valentina's worldview fundamentally. She developed sharp instincts for reading people's weaknesses and desires. She learned to present herself as whatever others wanted to see: innocent, sophisticated, mysterious, or approachable. Most importantly, she understood that information was power and secrets were currency. After 5 years in Milan's competitive scene, Valentina had achieved moderate success, but realized modeling wouldn't provide long-term security. She needed a different strategy. Her answer came in 2017 at Milan Malpensa Airport, where fate introduced her to Captain Darius al-Hakim. The meeting seemed straight from a romantic comedy. Darius was commanding an Emirates flight from Milan to Dubai, when technical delays stranded passengers overnight. Valentina, returning from a fashion week, found herself stuck at the airport. They met at the business lounge, where Darius was apologizing personally to frustrated first-class passengers. Valentina was immediately struck by his genuine kindness and professional confidence. Darius was captivated by her beauty, intelligence, and apparent vulnerability. They talked throughout the night about travel, dreams, and their completely different backgrounds. Their romance moved quickly. Within months, Valentina relocated to Dubai. Darius introduced her to Emirates' elite social circles, pilots' wives, airline executives, and Dubai's international community. She adapted seamlessly, learning Arabic phrases, understanding local customs, and charming everyone they met. Their 2019 wedding at the Burj Al Arab was Dubai Society's event of the year. Photos showed a fairy tale celebration, designer gowns, crystal chandeliers, and guests from across the globe. Their Instagram account became relationship goals for thousands of followers. Every post showcased their perfect life: business class travel, luxury shopping, exclusive restaurants, and romantic getaways. For 3 years, they were Dubai's golden couple. Friends envied their seemingly effortless happiness. Darius had his dream career. Valentina had financial security and status. And together they embodied success in the Emirates. Have you ever met a couple that seemed too perfect to be true? People thought Darius and Valentina were living proof that dreams come true in Dubai, until it all collapsed. But what happens when perfection becomes a carefully constructed lie? By early 2023, subtle changes began appearing in their seemingly perfect marriage. Darius, trained to notice anomalies during flight operations, started observing patterns that didn't make sense in his personal life. It began with phone calls. Valentina would excuse herself during dinner conversations, claiming work-related discussions about charity events she organized. But Darius knew charity coordinators didn't conduct business at midnight, and they certainly didn't require conversations in hushed Russian or Serbian. When questioned, Valentina would smile and explain she was helping Montenegro friends with immigration paperwork, a reasonable explanation that satisfied him initially. Her shopping habits evolved dramatically. Valentina had always enjoyed luxury brands, but her purchases now exceeded even their substantial income. Designer handbags worth 50,000 dirhams appeared weekly. Jewelry from Cartier and Van Cleef filled their bedroom safe. When Darius reviewed their credit statements, he discovered transactions at exclusive boutiques he'd never heard of, often while he was flying international routes. "Habibi, you worry too much," Valentina would say, dismissing his concerns with affectionate touches and promises to be more careful with spending. "Your salary allows us to enjoy life. Why stress about money when we have plenty?" But they didn't have plenty. Despite earning over 1 million dirhams annually, their savings account was shrinking rapidly. Darius began wondering how Valentina afforded her increasingly extravagant lifestyle. The cryptocurrency explanation emerged in March 2023. Valentina announced she'd been studying digital investments and had discovered amazing opportunities through contacts in Montenegro and Serbia. She showed him screenshots of supposed profits, Bitcoin, and Ethereum transactions that appeared incredibly successful. "My cousin in Belgrade introduced me to this investment group," she explained, showing charts on her laptop. "They've helped me turn 20,000 into 200,000 in just 3 months. It's completely legitimate, darling." Darius knew enough about cryptocurrency to recognize something felt off. The numbers seemed too good to be true, and Valentina's technical explanations contained basic errors that someone truly invested wouldn't make. But confronting her felt like accusing his wife of lying, something he couldn't bring himself to do directly. Meanwhile, Dubai's tight expat community began noticing changes. At Emirates family events, other pilots' wives whispered about Valentina's behavior. She'd become distant, arriving late to social gatherings and leaving early with excuse about urgent calls. Her conversations, once warm and engaging, now felt calculated and brief. "Something's different about her," confided Captain Ahmed's wife during a barbecue at Dubai Marina. "She used to be so friendly, but now she asks strange questions about our husband's schedules and which routes they fly most frequently." The whispers reached Darius through concerned friends. Fellow pilots mentioned their wives felt uncomfortable around Valentina, though they couldn't explain why. Some noted she'd been asking unusual questions about their personal lives, financial situations, and travel patterns. Darius dismissed these concerns initially. Jealousy was common among airline families. Successful couples often faced criticism from those struggling with their own relationships. But the consistency of complaints began troubling him. The breaking point approached when Darius discovered Valentina had been accessing their joint accounts while he flew international routes. Transfers to unknown cryptocurrency wallets appeared regularly, always when he was unreachable at 30,000 feet. When confronted, she produced more charts and graphs, explaining complex investment strategies that sounded impressive but felt rehearsed. By June 2023, their anniversary month, Darius realized he no longer recognized the woman he'd married. The loving, supportive partner who'd shared his dreams had been replaced by someone secretive, evasive, and increasingly distant. Their conversations felt like performances rather than genuine exchanges between husband and wife. What would you do if your partner started acting suspiciously? Most people think it could never happen to them until it does. Subscribing isn't just entertainment, it's awareness. If you're too comfortable to click, prove it in the comments. Why wouldn't you want to know the warning signs? But Darius had no idea how much worse things would become during their supposedly romantic getaway to Bali. August 2023 marked their 6th wedding anniversary, and Darius believed a romantic getaway could heal their relationship. He chose Bali specifically because it represented everything Dubai wasn't: spiritual, peaceful, and disconnected from their high-pressure Emirates lifestyle. No business dinners, no social obligations, no distractions from airline schedules or cryptocurrency charts. "We need this, Habibti," Darius told Valentina as he showed her the Villa Serenitas booking confirmation. "Just us, no phones, no stress, like when we first met." Villa Serenitas cost $15,000 per night, but Darius considered it an investment in their marriage. The property sat hidden among Ubud's emerald rice terraces, accessible only through private helicopter transfers. Each villa featured infinity pools that seemed to flow directly into the jungle canopy, private chefs trained in international cuisine, and spa facilities rivaling Dubai's most exclusive resorts. Their villa included 3 bedrooms, though they planned to use only the master suite with its panoramic views of ancient temples and volcanic mountains. Floor-to-ceiling windows opened onto terraces where traditional gamelan music drifted through tropical air. The setting was designed for romance and reconnection, exactly what Darius hoped would save their marriage. The first 2 days felt magical. They woke to sunrise yoga sessions led by Balinese instructors, shared meals prepared by their personal chef, and spent afternoons floating in the infinity pool while discussing their dreams and fears. For brief moments, Valentina seemed like the woman he'd fallen in love with in Milan, attentive, affectionate, and genuinely present in their conversations. "This is perfect," Valentina whispered during their second evening, as they watched sunset colors reflect across the pool. "We should do this more often, darling. Escape from Dubai's craziness and just be together." Darius felt hopeful for the first time in months. Perhaps their problems stemmed from external pressures rather than fundamental relationship issues. Dubai's competitive expat culture demanded constant performance, perfect careers, perfect homes, perfect social media presence. Maybe they'd simply forgotten how to be authentic with each other. They made love that night with passion they hadn't shared in over a year. Darius fell asleep believing their marriage was healing, that Valentina's recent behavior had been stress-related rather than something more troubling. The cryptocurrency investments, mysterious phone calls, and secretive meetings seemed less important surrounded by Bali's natural beauty. Their third morning began peacefully. Valentina announced plans for a full-day spa treatment, including traditional Balinese massages, volcanic stone therapy, and meditation sessions. She kissed Darius goodbye, promising to return refreshed and ready for a romantic dinner on their private terrace. "Enjoy your spa day, my love," Darius replied, planning to spend the afternoon reading by the pool and preparing surprise anniversary gifts he'd hidden in his luggage. But paradise has a way of revealing the truth that luxury and distance cannot hide forever. Have you ever gone on a trip hoping to fix relationship problems? They thought a vacation could save their love. They were wrong. Don't make the mistake of thinking you're safe from stories like this. Subscribe now, or if you won't, step into the comments and explain why you'd rather stay in the dark. What Darius discovered while Valentina enjoyed her spa treatments would destroy everything he believed about their marriage and their future together. 2 hours after Valentina left for her spa appointment, Darius decided to surprise her with a perfectly arranged romantic dinner. He wanted to recreate their first date in Milan, complete with her favorite wine and the Cartier necklace he'd purchased secretly in Dubai before their trip. As he searched their shared luggage for the hidden jewelry box, his hand touched something unexpected, a slim laptop tucked beneath layers of Valentina's designer clothing. This wasn't her usual MacBook. It was a black ThinkPad he'd never seen before, secured with multiple passwords and encryption software. Curiosity overwhelmed caution. Valentina had been secretive about her cryptocurrency investments for months. Perhaps this laptop contained evidence of the successful trading she claimed was funding their extravagant lifestyle. He powered on the device, expecting to find trading platforms and financial charts. Instead, what appeared on the screen made his blood freeze. The desktop contained hundreds of folders labeled with men's names, locations, and dates. Ahmed Riyadh 2023, Lorenzo Milan 2022, Khalid Qatar 2023. Each folder contained photographs, audio recordings, financial documents, and detailed personal information about wealthy businessmen across the Middle East and Europe. Darius opened the first folder with trembling hands. Inside were compromising photographs of a Saudi oil executive with a woman who wasn't his wife, recorded phone conversations discussing bribes to government officials, and bank statements showing illegal money transfers. At the bottom of the folder sat correspondence, payment confirmations for €200,000 transferred to an untraceable cryptocurrency wallet. The second folder contained similar materials about an Italian fashion mogul. Secret recordings revealed his involvement in tax evasion schemes, while photographs showed him in compromising positions with underage models. Payment records indicated he'd transferred €500,000 to avoid exposure. Folder after folder revealed the same pattern. Valentina had been systematically targeting wealthy, powerful men across multiple countries, collecting their secrets and demanding substantial payments for her silence. Her cryptocurrency investments were actually blackmail payments from victims spanning Dubai, Riyadh, Doha, Milan, Monaco, and London. But the most devastating discovery came when Darius found a folder labeled Access Credentials. Inside were detailed records of how Valentina had used their marriage as the perfect cover. His pilot status provided access to exclusive airline events, diplomatic parties, and international business gatherings where she could approach potential targets. She'd photographed guest lists from Emirates functions, recorded private conversations at aviation industry galas, and documented personal details shared during seemingly innocent social interactions. Worse yet, she'd been using his flight schedules to plan her operations. While he commanded aircraft across continents, believing he was supporting their luxury lifestyle, Valentina was destroying lives and extorting millions from her victims. The folder contained photocopies of his Emirates ID, pilot licenses, and security clearances. She'd documented which routes he flew regularly, when he'd be unreachable during flights, and how long she had to conduct her activities without arousing suspicion. His professional credentials, earned through years of hard work and sacrifice, had become tools in her criminal enterprise. Darius's hands shook as he scrolled through communication logs. Valentina maintained detailed profiles of each victim's psychology, family relationships, and financial vulnerabilities. Her notes read like a predator's hunting manual. Responds to flattery about business success. Fears wife discovering gambling debts. Weakness for younger women leads to poor decisions. The laptop revealed a woman he'd never known existed. The loving, supportive wife who'd shared his dreams was actually a calculated manipulator who'd been exploiting their marriage from the beginning. Every romantic dinner, every anniversary celebration, every intimate moment had been performed while she secretly destroyed other families for profit. Most horrifying was the realization that Darius himself appeared in several victim files. Valentina had been gathering evidence against him, manipulated conversations, doctored photographs, and fabricated documents that could implicate him in her crimes if he ever tried to expose her operations. His world collapsed completely in that moment. The villa's luxury suddenly felt suffocating. The tropical paradise around him seemed like an elaborate prison. The woman he'd loved and trusted had been playing the longest con of all, using his genuine affection as cover for international criminal activity. How would you react if you discovered your spouse was living a double life? Secrets destroy lives. Don't let ignorance destroy yours. Subscribe now, and if you still won't, you owe us a comment. Tell us why you'd rather ignore these stories until it's too late. Darius sat staring at the laptop screen, knowing his life as he knew it was over, while Valentina enjoyed her spa treatments completely unaware that her carefully constructed world was about to explode. Valentina returned to Villa Serenitas at sunset, glowing from her spa treatments and humming softly as she entered their bedroom. She found Darius sitting motionless on their terrace, the black laptop open beside him, her carefully hidden world displayed across the screen. "You look tense, darling," she said casually, as if discovering her husband had found evidence of international blackmail was merely an inconvenience. "Did you enjoy your afternoon?" 6 years, Darius whispered, his voice barely audible above the evening sounds of the Balinese jungle. 6 years of lies, Valentina. 6 years of using me, using our marriage, using everything I worked for to destroy people's lives. Valentina's expression didn't change. No shock, no denial, no tears of remorse. Instead, she walked calmly to their bedroom's minibar, poured herself a glass of wine, and returned to the terrace with the composure of someone discussing weekend plans. "You found my work laptop," she said, settling into the chair across from him. "I was wondering when you'd get curious enough to look." "Work?" Darius's voice cracked with disbelief. "You call blackmail work? Destroying families, extorting millions, using my pilot credentials to access victims. That's work to you?" "It's survival, Habibi," Valentina replied, using his pet name with chilling casualness. "You grew up in Dubai with loving parents and clear dreams. I grew up in Montenegro with nothing. I learned early that beautiful women have two choices: be victims or take control. I chose control." The moonlight cast silver patterns across the infinity pool, creating an almost romantic atmosphere that made their conversation feel increasingly surreal. Here they were in paradise, surrounded by luxury they could barely afford, discussing her systematic destruction of dozens of lives. "The Saudi executive you're blackmailing has 3 children, Darius said, scrolling through the laptop files. "The Italian businessman is supporting his elderly mother's medical treatment. These aren't just rich men, they're human beings with families." "Rich human beings who made foolish choices," Valentina corrected coldly. "I didn't force them to cheat on their wives, evade taxes, or abuse their power. I simply documented their decisions and gave them opportunities to pay for discretion." Darius stared at this woman he'd married, searching for any trace of the person he'd fallen in love with. What about us? Was any of it real? For the first time, Valentina's mask slipped slightly. "Parts of it were real. You're genuinely kind, Darius. That made you perfect for what I needed. A respectable husband whose career provided access and credibility. but love doesn't pay for Cartier jewelry or $15,000 a night villas. I'm going to the authorities, Darius said, closing the laptop. This ends now. Valentina's laugh was soft and terrifying. No, my darling husband, you're not. She retrieved her phone, scrolling to a folder marked Insurance. The screen displayed photographs of Darius at various social events, seemingly engaged in intimate conversations with women who weren't his wife. Documents appeared to show his signature on financial agreements related to her victims' payments. Fake but convincing evidence suggested his active participation in the blackmail operation. I've been preparing for this conversation for 3 years, she said calmly. If you expose me, these materials go to Emirates Airlines, Dubai Police and every news outlet in the UAE. Your pilot license disappears. Your reputation dies. Your family's honor is destroyed. You'll face criminal charges as my accomplice. The tropical night felt suffocating as Darius realized the trap's completeness. She hadn't just used him. She'd been building evidence against him from the beginning, ensuring his silence through mutually assured destruction. What would you do if someone you loved threatened to destroy your life? At this point, it's already too late for Darius, but it's not too late for you. Subscribe before you find yourself blind to the dangers closest to home. And if you don't, write your reason in the comments. We're listening. Under Bali's peaceful moonlight, with gamelan music drifting through the air, Darius al-Hakim realized he was completely trapped by the woman he'd trusted with everything. The tropical night air carried the scent of jasmine and frangipani as their conversation descended into something irreversible. Darius sat paralyzed by the realization that every path forward led to his destruction. Valentina, meanwhile, seemed to grow more confident with each passing moment, savoring her complete control over the situation. "You understand now, don't you?" she said, swirling the wine in her glass. "We continue exactly as before. You fly your routes, I conduct my business, and we maintain our perfect Dubai life. Nobody gets hurt if you simply stay quiet." "Stay quiet?" Darius's voice rose with desperation. "Valentina, you've destroyed dozens of families. The Saudi executive you're blackmailing. His daughter is getting married next month. The Italian businessman is selling his company to pay you. These aren't just transactions, you're ruining lives." Valentina's expression hardened. "Their choices created their problems. I'm simply capitalizing on stupidity." "And what about my choices? What about my life?" Darius stood abruptly, pacing to the terrace railing. Below them, the infinity pool reflected moonlight like liquid silver, while the sounds of nocturnal wildlife filled the humid air. "I worked 15 years to build my reputation. My family sacrificed everything so I could become a pilot. You want me to throw that away to protect your criminal empire?" "You won't throw anything away if you stay silent," Valentina replied coldly. "But if you try to expose me, I guarantee your career dies tomorrow. I've already prepared the evidence. Emirates Airlines will receive documents showing your involvement in every operation. Your pilot license gets revoked. Your family's reputation in Dubai gets destroyed. You'll face criminal charges as my partner." The word partner triggered something explosive in Darius's chest. 6 years of marriage, 6 years of believing they were building a life together, and now he discovered he'd been nothing more than a cover story for international crime. "Partner," he laughed bitterly. "I was never your partner, Valentina. I was your mark. The biggest, longest con you ever ran." "Finally you understand," she said with chilling satisfaction. "And now you know why this conversation ends with you accepting reality. We return to Dubai tomorrow. You continue flying. I continue my work. Life goes on exactly as before." But something had broken inside Darius, some fundamental belief in justice, in fairness, in the possibility that good could triumph over evil. Years of working multiple jobs to achieve his dreams, decades of his parents' sacrifices, his genuine love for a woman who saw him only as a useful tool, it all collapsed into rage. "No," he said quietly, "it doesn't." Valentina's confidence flickered for the first time. "Excuse me?" "I said no. I won't be your accomplice anymore. I won't let you continue destroying families, I won't live this lie." The night sounds seemed to intensify around them. Cicadas chirping in ancient trees, distant gamelan music from nearby temples, the gentle splash of water against the infinity pool's edge. Paradise surrounded them while their marriage died in real time. "Darius, you're being emotional," Valentina said, her voice taking on a dangerous edge. "Think about what you're saying. Think about what you're risking." "I'm thinking about what I can live with," he replied, "and I can't live with this." Valentina stood slowly, her wineglass trembling slightly in her hand. "Then let me make this crystal clear. If you try to expose me, if you contact authorities, if you even think about destroying what I've built, I will ruin you so completely that you'll wish you'd never been born. Your Emirates career ends. Your family's honor dies. You'll spend years in prison for crimes I'll pin on you. Do you understand me?" The threat hung in the tropical air like poison. Somewhere in the villa's hidden security system, cameras recorded everything, their faces, their words, the precise moment when 6 years of marriage shattered completely. "I understand perfectly," Darius said, his voice eerily calm. "You've been planning this from the beginning. Our entire relationship was just preparation for this moment." "Smart man," Valentina smiled coldly. But in that smile, Darius saw something that broke the last thread holding his sanity together. She was enjoying this. She was savoring his pain, his helplessness, his complete destruction. The woman he'd loved was taking pleasure in his suffering. The tropical night exploded into chaos. What happened next transformed Villa Serenitas from paradise into a crime scene that would shock investigators across 2 continents. The infinity pool's gentle sounds became the backdrop for violence that shattered the peaceful Balinese evening. Security cameras captured every moment as luxury became horror in the space of heartbeats. The jasmine-scented air carried different sounds now, struggles, impacts, and finally, the terrible silence that follows irreversible actions. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below. If you are enjoying this content, share it with your loved ones to protect them from the same tragedy happening to them in the future. Paradise had become hell, and there was no going back. Villa Serenitas staff discovered the scene the following morning when the couple failed to appear for their scheduled breakfast. What they found on the moonlit terrace would haunt them forever. Paradise transformed into a crime scene that would make international headlines. Indonesian police arrived within hours, followed by Interpol agents and investigators from multiple countries. The villa's security system had recorded everything, providing undeniable evidence of what transpired during those final moments. Captain Darius al-Hakim was arrested immediately, while Valentina's body was prepared for repatriation to Montenegro. But the investigation revealed far more than a domestic tragedy. Valentina's laptop opened a window into an international criminal network spanning 6 countries and dozens of victims. Within days, the blackmail operation made global news as the Emirates Connection, a sophisticated scheme that had extracted over $15 million from wealthy businessmen across the Middle East and Europe. Dubai's expat community reeled from the revelations. Emirates Airlines suspended Darius pending investigation, while other pilots found themselves questioned about their wives' activities and access to exclusive events. The tight-knit aviation community that had once celebrated Darius and Valentina's perfect marriage now whispered about the couple who had fooled everyone. Victims began coming forward across multiple continents. The Saudi oil executive admitted to paying €200,000 to prevent exposure of his affairs. The Italian fashion mogul confirmed $500,000 in payments to hide his tax evasion. Businessman after businessman revealed how Valentina had systematically targeted their weaknesses and extracted fortunes through calculated manipulation. The Dubai police worked with international authorities to freeze cryptocurrency accounts containing millions in blackmail payments. Valentina's network included accomplices in Montenegro, Serbia, and Italy, all of whom faced charges for their roles in the operation. For Dubai's expat community, the case became a cautionary tale about the pressures of maintaining perfect appearances in a competitive social environment. Aviation families questioned how well they really knew their neighbors, while social events that once seemed innocent now carried undertones of suspicion. Captain Darius al-Hakim faced murder charges in Indonesia, with potential extradition to multiple countries for his alleged involvement in Valentina's crimes. His family in Dubai struggled to comprehend how their son, who had worked so hard to achieve his dreams, had become entangled in international crime and tragedy. What lessons can we learn from this tragedy? Behind every perfect social media couple, behind every luxury lifestyle, behind every dream come true, there might be secrets that could destroy everything in an instant. The case reminds us that trust, once broken, can lead to consequences no one can predict or control. Sometimes the people closest to us carry the darkest secrets, and paradise can become hell in the space of a heartbeat. Subscribe now to stay informed about stories that could save your relationships and your life. Like this video if it opened your eyes, and share it with loved ones who need to see the warning signs before it's too late.